is from Marcus Aurelius. He said, "What are you so afraid of losing when nothing in this world belongs to you?" And so it's like we're here on borrowed time to acquire borrowed assets and borrowed resources. And at the end of the game,
well, I'll just say I came to a place in life where I just didn't like me anymore. I looked in the mirror and I'm like, I will not spend the next 50 years with this guy like I have the last 50. I don't like me. Nobody around likes me. I can't.
Like, did you try, or did you move the fucking world to make it happen?
Being lost is an opportunity to stop and slow down and reflect where you truly want to go. And that's what I'm trying to use that for right now, and being like, oh, it's time to do this, that. It's like, people are like, what are you going to do next? I'm like, right now, nothing. I'm not adding anything to my life because I'm trying to figure out what that is, and it's okay to be lost right now. Telling myself it's okay to be lost.
What happens if you achieve the things that you say that you want? What happens if you get there? Just imagine for a second.
Is if there are people that you're around that you just feel inspired to do your best shit with when you're around them, that's who you want to be hanging out with.
So if I stayed on that path, it might not be lost, but I'm not discovering anything else. And at least in being lost, you might discover something new that's better or different, but still good. You know, better is a subjective word, I guess. Nothing will be like the Olympia, but things will be incredible in my life.
Not everybody has that exact belief, but the idea that maybe I'm not enough for this level that I'm going to, or the level I want to go to in my life, whether it's, they might be great in business, but they're not doing great in their relationship, or they're great in a relationship, but they're not good with their kids. They're good with the kids, but their body's not where they want to be. They got all the money, but not the body, right? And so I think most people bump up against that fear that something in me's not enough, and the deeper fear is that if I'm not enough, I won't be loved. And so it's an unconscious fear. So most people push it aside by focusing on what they're good at and not taking care of those other things till they bite them, the relationship, the body, whatever it is, the kid.
Inspiration is a thing that can be either positive or negative, and it jolts you into deciding to take action on this thing that you might not have wanted to do, but now you're more keen on doing.
I'm sure you've seen an athlete, a basketball player in the NBA about to shoot a free throw, a kicker in the NFL, and they go jogging out there and you look at them and you go, they're gonna miss it. And sure enough, they do. Everyone's had that experience. How did they know? They saw the lack of certainty in their body, right? And so when you try to get yourself to do something you've never done before, it produces that kind of uncertainty.
The place to be is inside of yourself. That's the truth. Most men know that, you know, barring some extreme situations and war zones and stuff like that. But for the majority of men, the most terrifying thing for them is the truth of who they are. Because there's parts of them that they do not understand, and that's scary. There's parts of themselves that are out of control, and that's terrifying. And so I think for what I would say to those men is, it sounds like you're not really willing to get in the arena with yourself.
and so besides the rules that you believe other people have on your life that you think you're breaking, that is all made up, because they don't really care that much, because no one really cares that much about anyone besides themselves. It's all make-believe. And I think that when you get as specific as humanly possible, but like, oh, I don't want to post this content. What? Because you're afraid that some unnamed account or some named account will write words on a screen that you'll read that will make your feelings go away. Like that is what will stop you from achieving your goal. Having a stranger tell you to fuck off because you reached out is the reason.
Some story that makes it impossible to succeed. If you change the story, you can get a strategy that works. But the order people work on is strategy. Rarely pay attention to story, but the one before that is where we need to start. It's your state. It's your mental, emotional state. So your story changes with your state, right? Your story about your life. It could be one day it's horrible, the next day, well, life's a gift. So the most important thing to do is change your state first. That's why most people fail to achieve what they want. They have not become masters in their own mental, emotional state.
Catalyst just came about, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I had a small heart attack, and I knew it was a heart attack, and I was at the point, I'm not kidding, I lay there in bed, and I felt it come on, and so I had to make some decisions. What's making me like this? I need to get it out of my life, and there were people.
You're just gonna push your chips to the middle and somebody else is gonna take your chair. That's it, out of coins. And so it's like, we're just in the game. Like we're just here, we're renting, we're leasers, right? None of this is permanent. And so the idea that we'd fear some permanent outcome from an impermanent existence, the longer I've been in the game, the more disgusted I am by that feeling and by someone questioning that.
You negotiate the costs with yourself.
Backwards from the assumed success, which is why do so much volume, it would be unreasonable that you were successful.
And I would say actively, like I said, the gym has been like the thing for me of when I'm lost, it's always there. So having a constant in your life, having something within your control when things feel out of control to just go do, just to give you that little postural upkeep, I think is so crucial.
What am I supposed to do? Your state will determine it. So if you're fearful, he who states is lost. Yes. You're gonna justify. If you're more aggressive and there's something you really want, you're gonna, it's like, I gotta make this thing happen, right? It's a different piece. So you pick your beliefs based on your state unconsciously. So state is the controlling factor in everything.
And there's sort of two things happening at once here. One is you can work way harder than you think you can.
Yes.
And another one is most people work so not hard that even a small amount of working hard puts you into a rarefied strata of people. And both of those things are true at the same time. It's a very instrumental view of life that everything is done in order to achieve the next thing. So at no point do you actually arrive. It's a great question. Okay, when are you going to arrive? Tell me when you're going to arrive. I think when it comes to internal stuff, willpower, habits, discipline, because you can't see it, because it's inbuilt in a way. It feels like it's part of your sense of self. And I think that limits maybe people's understanding of how much they can move that and lift the ceiling.
So that state of certainty, that state of passion, that state of conviction, that state of absolute determination, right? That state that every great athlete has, that state any great leader has, any great business person has. If you have that state, it will change your story. And it'll change what you're able to do strategy-wise.
How on earth do you think that you're going to be able to move mountains and get out of that relationship that you don't like and move countries or change career when you can't not hit snooze, even though last night you promised yourself that you weren't going to hit snooze? And it's how people that are able to do extraordinary things have been able to get there, that they've just started off unbelievably small.
It's hard when you're young to wake up in the off season at 6 a.m. to go train and work out, knowing that all your friends are sleeping in and eating pancakes. It's hard when you're on your way to practice, weighed down with all your gear, and it's 90 degrees out and all the other kids are at the pool or at the beach, and your body is already completely exhausted from workouts in 2-a-days.
But there's a humility in determining what it is that the wretched creature that you are can actually manage. Aim low. And I don't mean don't aim, and I don't mean don't aim up. But you have to accept the fact that you can set yourself a goal that you can attain, and there's not going to be much glory in it to begin with. Because if you're not in very good shape, the goal that you could attain tomorrow isn't very glorious. But it's a hell of a lot better than nothing, and it beats the hell out of bitterness, and it's way better than blaming someone else. It's way less dangerous. And you could do it.
But one should not forget that when you start out, you don't have much to give back. So you first have to build yourself. And it became clear to me that the more I build myself and the bigger I become, the more I can give back.
And you have to have goals outside of your comfort zone that will challenge you, because in order to do something you've never done, you've got to become someone you've never been. And you got to have a mentor who's experienced, who's been there, done that.
I had a purpose. I wanted to be one of the best basketball players to ever play. And anything else that was outside of that lane, I didn't have time for. I made that deal with myself at 13 years old.
Clear about it.
Crystal clear.
And where did inspiration come from?
The love of the game.
In my mind, it wasn't hard. It wasn't going to be hard because there was no other option. All my eggs were in this basket, and I was very happy with that choice. I put every last egg in this thing. Nothing else matters but this. I promise you, I will figure it out.
But in my idea, the vision is, well, if you already don't love your job or you're doing it for the wrong reasons, it will just show you that. People are like, well, I want to be rich first, and then I'll do it because I'll be detached from money afterwards, and then blah, blah. Well, if you're in a journey to be Mr. Olympia and you awaken and you're like, I don't care about the outcome. It's like, well, why am I going to suffer through all this bullshit and beat on myself every day and keep pushing through all these moments I don't want to if I don't even care about the outcome?
You got to do it alone. You got to do it broke. You got to do it scared. You got to do it when you don't know what's going to happen. You got to do it when you don't feel like it. You got to do it even when you're nervous. You got to do it even when you don't have the answers, because you'll figure it out as you go. You know, that's the secret to manhood. That's the secret to life. No matter who you are, you'll figure it out as you go through this life.
Everything in my life, volume negates luck. Violence is the answer. Like, these are sayings that are plastered around the wall of this office because they've been so true for me, that you can brute force what you want into reality. And yes, today, we talked about trades that we're not willing to make. But if you want something, like, did you fucking move mountains?
It's the idea of like going, it's not repetition, it's iteration. It's like lots of different, doing the same thing again and again doesn't make you better, but like tweaking it and knowing what to tweak is that you have to listen to an inner critic.
People say, like, I'm driven by discipline. That's categorical nonsense. That's actually impossible. You have to be driven by something. And so the first construct that's very helpful, and it's also a very short-lived one, is called inspiration. Inspiration, real simple to define. It's the thing that gets you going. A little squirt of juice in your thigh.
I think it sounds great in principle to say, detach yourself from the outcome, just focus on the process, all the rest of it. And that might be a useful thinking tool. But practically, when it comes down to, can I grow some fucking corn out of this strategy? I'm yet to see anybody.
I didn't do them willingly. I did them because I was in so much fucking pain that I was boxed into a corner and felt like the only way out was through. In other words, when the pain of my circumstance exceeded the tremendous amount of fear that I was harboring about doing something different, doing something that would change the outcomes. Because if you're doing something in a certain way and you're always getting the same outcome, until you start doing things differently, you're always going to get the same result.
We always think that we got to have it all figured out. We think that we have to know the game plan before we could take a move. Life ain't like that. Life is more spontaneous than that. Life is built on curiosity. Life is built when you move towards your goals and dreams and you don't know what's going to happen, but you have enough faith to keep going. You have enough faith to make it work. That's what life is built on.
It's hard to throw, catch, block, and tackle and hit kids when they're way bigger and way more developed than you, only to go home that night bruised and battered and strained, but knowing you have to show up again the next day for just the chance to try again.
I'm not spending the rest of my life working in a factory and sitting here and doing this. I'm going to go chase the dream that I've had since I was a child. And so my wife and our infant, she flew to Hawaii to stay with her dad, and sold everything we had, which wasn't much. And I got a saddle and my gear and took a Greyhound bus to up into Idaho, and then wasn't nobody there to pick me up that was supposed to pick me up. So I hitchhiked.
Negative thoughts are like weeds. You can't kill weeds. You can hold them down for a minute, but once you stop doing the things to overpower those negative thoughts, because we've been taught to dislike ourselves, that if I said to you, Tom, you can't do this show, you just don't have what it takes. You have a face that only a mother could love, Tom. You can't do this. Then MIT did this study, and somebody else has to come along and say, Tom, don't pay any attention. You can do it, Tom. You can do this. Don't listen to him. You can do this. Listen to me, Linda. You can do this. 17 times to neutralize that one time.
We need to get stronger. We need to get ballsier. We need to get tougher. We need to not be afraid of failure. We got to go into the work. We got to face adversity. Adversity breeds character. There's strength and fighting and resistance. It does not only make the muscle grow, but it makes also your head grow, makes you a stronger person.
Well, if you want patience, then you're not going to get things quickly. If you want to have endurance, it's like you have to be able to tolerate suffering, right? If you want to be wise, it's like you're going to have to get burned. My ultimate, long-term goal is just to become the person that the best version of me, right? And I think that in order for that to happen, I will have to go through pain. And so the follow your passion, moniker also creates this emotionality that gets you to quit when you really are on the right path. And this is just part of it.
life is what happens while we're making other plans. Like it's a brilliant observation. Oh, once I've got this done, once I get my degree, then life will begin. Once I've just got to pass these exams and get to that thing and buy that house, and then I've just got to pay this off, and then I've got to and then we can start.
You have to stay in that third painful place, because staying in the pain is what gives you the catalyst to learn how to get out of pain. And so rather than trying to pull your parachute, it's like, I have to trudge through this so that it forces me to learn. The vast majority of successful people have one thing in common, which is they're consistent. And consistency, you cannot see in a snapshot. You can't see consistency in a soundbite. You can't see consistency in a reel. And so consistency is one of those things. I think you talked about unlearnable lessons. I think they are difficult to learn without large amounts of exposure. And so I think those are the types of lessons that become unlearnable, is that you need large amounts of exposure in order to encapsulate the lesson itself.
When you want to achieve the highest goal of all time, you are going to have to learn how to get your ass kicked all the way up that damn mountain. And then when you get up the mountain, the oxygen up there is very thin. It's hard to breathe. So it's not a lot of fun up there either. So all the way, if you want to be successful, you got the bottom that sucks, the middle is extremely hard, and the top, it sucks worse than all of it.
Motivation and having a goal is like totally dope and critical, I might add. It's like a general looking over a contested city and being like, we're going to be at the end of that flagpole by tomorrow, fellas. We're going to capture this fucking city. Cool. Everyone's happy. That doesn't get the tanks going. That doesn't tell the troops where to go. That doesn't get the hospital in the back to get ready to accept some casualties, shit like that. When you are like, I'm gonna gain 20 pounds on each lift. Sweet. What's day one gonna look like at the gym?
Everybody's afraid of failure. It's embarrassing as shit. So how do you think I became successful when I failed every day of my life until I succeeded, which took a long time? The first thing I did was all of you in this room want to be successful as hell. But the journey to success comes with a lot of what? Failure. So why the fuck don't you teach yourself, like I taught myself, is how to fail?
You can't say to a young person like the material possessions, they're not going to bring you happiness. Because actually, they kind of will. But not having the watch won't make you happy. Getting it is fun. Getting stuff is fun. The journey is so fun. Like that thing of like, and it's partly the dopamine of like it's the thrill of the acquisition, but the stuff that gives you pleasure long term, it's like it's feelings.
Yeah, having things isn't fun. Getting things is fun.
When I was 300 pounds, people think, oh, you really thought you could be a Navy SEAL? No. I think I was gonna fucking lose the weight. But what it was how I was able to get over all the failure and all the embarrassment of failing was I told myself, you are gonna have to learn how to get up extremely fast because you are gonna have a million setbacks on this journey. And that's how I literally taught myself how to fail first.
People are so constrained in their thinking of what level of effort is because they haven't considered what trading way more for that thing is. But they would be willing to trade far more for that thing if the trade were clear. But because they've never tried hard at anything, they just think, oh, this is what trying looks like, which might be like the occasional Google search and a couple hours a week of like watching some videos on YouTube on something. It's like, that is not trying. Like, that is not trying. Like, if you cannot count the amount of repetitions that you're having in the hundreds, that is not trying.
Because I knew that if I was afraid of failure, I would have never been able to be a Navy SEAL. I would have never been able to get to where I'm at today. So I went through, and I literally at 300 pounds, or 297 to be exact, I sat back and I visualized how this journey is gonna look. In the first several months was nothing but failure. So how am I gonna get up the next morning when I failed the day before? How am I gonna eat this meal when I failed and I got fries and a milkshake again when I was supposed to get grilled chicken and rice. So I went through and I taught myself how to fail. And when you do that, you're able to get up extremely fast, and you no longer care about the end result, because you know, if I want to be way up here, it's gonna take a bunch of small micro failures along the way. But you have to understand that that is part of the process.
For me, it always comes back to perseverance, persistence, high pain tolerance, an ability to suffer through discomfort, a welcoming of doing hard things, and willingness, really. What are you willing to do? What are you willing to do different? How willing are you? Are you willing to make this your number one priority? And a lot of people will put words to that, but only time will tell whether those words are followed up by the action that demonstrates the level of willingness that is required to actualize anything of meaning in this world.
Saying yes to new experiences and trying to seek out things that are markedly different, like genuinely orthogonal to the existing experiences you've had. Sure, you may roll the dice and you may hate improv. But even when you hate it, that might be a thing where you go, that's some negative fucking inspiration shit. I don't want to be like any of these improv motherfuckers. You know, like pretending that they're in a pub in England throwing darts at the board and saying like, oh, right, Governor, well, what do you want tonight, sir? So for me, that's at least one way that I think you can kind of artificially inseminate a little bit more inspiration into your life. That as you approach a thing that you want, let's say it's a tree that's on the horizon that you know has some fruit in that you need to bring back. As you run toward the tree and the tree slowly grows and grows and grows and grows and grows on the horizon, you get closer and closer and closer, you feel reward because it motivates you to keep going, or else you go, fuck, it's still so far away. I can't be bothered. So, but if the tree was not there, or if you didn't know where the tree was, running towards it's way harder.
Muhammad Ali said, I'm the greatest, but he never won a championship without Angelo Dundee. And Michael Jordan never won a championship without Phil Jackson. So you've got to have someone that can see something in you that you can't see, that can take you to a place within yourself that you can't go by yourself.
And so when I decided to launch this book, $100 Million Money Models, the goal was to do $100 million in the weekend. And I made that goal public within the company, so everybody knew. And one of the people on my team said, well, what if we don't hit it? And I remember almost being like disgusted. Like that was like my physical reaction to when that person said that. And I remember just looking at him and I was like, dare greatly, motherfucker. Like, what's the point? Like if we fuck up, we die trying. You know what I mean? Like, so what?
Intention means you have a plan and you are putting just a tiny bit of your pride on the line to say, I'm going to do the plan.
So this is the emotion piece coming in a little.
Oh yeah, sure. Because people can be motivated. And so first of all, almost everyone can be inspired to do damn near anything. Tons of people can be motivated to do damn near anything. How many people actually construct a plan and put their little bit of their nutsack on the line? Am I actually doing the shit? Because intention is the bridge between what you want and what you're going to get.
You're basically saying the best way to improve your life, to feel good about who you are and to find purpose, meaning, and fulfillment is to find ways to give back. So
his experience in the area where he was and being in prison because of his philosophy of life didn't make him bitter. You know, we've all heard the saying, things in life will make you bitter or they'll make you better. And he became better. He did even more profound work while he was incarcerated before he ultimately died.
But like, we're gonna still fight like hell to try and make it happen. And so the fact that he asked that really just made me think like, what does he think I'm afraid of? If I said, hey guys, we're gonna try and hit 100 million, we hit 80, or we hit 70, whatever. I'm like, okay, boo-hoo, we made a bunch of money, we got a ton of people, books in their hands that can help them. What are we gonna do? We'll try again next year. Like, well, what if people don't take you seriously? I don't think people are gonna not take me seriously, because people will take you as serious as you take yourself. And if you are serious about your goals and your commitment to those goals, people can visibly observe. There is no one that will fault you for daring greatly, period.
One thing I know for sure, I can help anyone to go and be a little bit better.
Right.
And I think that's what we want to ask. We cannot ask everyone to be a genius, let's ask everyone to be the world's strongest man and all that stuff, but to be better. Because when you're better, when you get better, then you feel good. When we improve, we feel good. When we have accomplished something, we feel good. And that then rubs off on everything.
Maybe it is a better way to live, to not care about the outcome, but maybe it will lead you to not doing it at all. Which, again, if you're there, you won't care, but it's just different. If you're in a place in your life where you'd rather keep yourself in that box and achieve the things and get the abundance, and you know, this isn't really good for me, but I still want to do it because it's fun right now, and then I'll go on the other side and open up beyond that. But when are you ready to do that? Does it matter?
The secret of the age is that you have the power to do more than you can ever begin to imagine. Don't underestimate yourself. You don't know enough about yourself to become a cynic. And so you've got to challenge yourself to access that power that you have within you. You're more than a conqueror.
You have to believe on some level that you can hit it. And you also have to believe even more that you will die trying. And I think that your commitment has to be to the effort that you're willing to put forth and completely divorced of the outcome.
And I remember that was one of the things, like, you're not going to break me. No matter what you say, I'll die right here in this water. I don't care. And that mindset has really been beneficial throughout the entire process. Because there's parts of BUD/S and parts of being in special operations where you think it's going to kill you. And then at a certain point, you just don't care. If it kills me, it kills me, I don't care. And you get through it.
Like, my mind was like, how this guy can stop me? I train all my life, every day, no day off. How this guy can stop me? Okay, only one way how he can stop me, like, it's supposed to be like lucky punch or something like this. Otherwise, like, I'm gonna try to take this guy down. If this guy stop me one time, I'm gonna try to 100 times. And it was work always, you know.
You gotta set the example. This is another obstacle. This obstacle cannot define me. It's not gonna cripple me. It's not gonna be responsible for me stepping away for the game that I love. I'm gonna step away on my own terms. And that's when the decision was made that, you know what, I'm doing it.
I found the thing that I wanna do. And I'm not gonna quit it because I love it this much. And I strongly believe that the sun is at the end of this dark tunnel. But I gotta be willing to get there. And I just don't know how to get there yet, but I'm gonna figure it out.
I knew it wouldn't hold. There's no way it's gonna hold. Like, it feels so bad inside me. Stepped off it, boom, hit. It felt like a bolt of lightning went through me. And I looked at him and he went, how do you feel? And I went, 100%. Everything hurts, everything's got a limitation, and I'm just pushing through it regardless.
I will have to limp the last mile, even if no one's watching, because I can't let the demons in. And if I let the demons in, they'll show up in the 11th round of a championship fight when there's 50,000 people watching me in the audience. And I know deep in my self-story that I'm the type of person that quits when things get hard because I got off that treadmill at mile 9 when no one was watching.
But God said, hey, motherfucker, I'm testing you today. Then I'm gonna test you tomorrow. Then I'm gonna test you again. I'm gonna let you alone, man. Pray all the fuck you want. Pray. Get on your knees, boy, pray. I'm gonna still kick your ass. So the more I realize this is my journey, and the more I realize, where's all my friends? They ain't fucking nowhere around. It was you. So you better figure out who the fuck you are on this journey. And those few people many people don't like you, so be it. But you first have to figure out you, because a lot of people die with a lot of untapped potential because they're trying to be somebody that they're not.
Everyone wants what you have, but not what you did to get it. I think that if we make who we become the goal, rather than the thing that we achieve, instead of winning once a decade, we can win every day. Because you can continually get better at being who you are, and then the achievement is just one milestone along the path. Like, sure, you want to be a millionaire, but what you really want to do is become the person who can become a millionaire.
Hey, remember, you know how people make diamonds? Diamonds make it under big pressure. If you can handle this pressure, you're gonna become diamond. But if you lose, you're gonna be loser. Just be careful. You have to understand. You have to understand what you want. When time comes, you have to shine.
But if you are able to get up every morning, have no passion, no drive, no motivation, no shit, and still get up with that kind of fire, you will be successful in life. I guarantee you that.
When you're working towards something like that and you're like, all I care about is that I gave my all. I did everything I could. And then whether I win or lose, I don't care. It sounds beautiful.
We have to be willing to go through hardship, through suffering, through pain, through crying periods, all of that stuff. Don't shy away from any of that because it just makes you stronger.